The samurai helmet, or kabuto, has long been a symbol of honor and resilience in Japanese culture. The bottle samurai helmet planners pay tribute to that heritage,
imitate and
transforming
modify, and
recycled
bring it
bottles
alive
into
through garden
warriors of
ideas that
sustainability.
turn trash
Imagine
into
bottles
timeless
painted in
treasures.
deep black,
Imagine
crimson
an
red,
old
and
bottle
shimmering
glowing
gold,
like stained glass
detailed
in the
with crests
sun,
and emblems.
or a broken
From their
teacup
top
reborn
sprout
as a
herbs like
planter for
basil
herbs.
or mint,
Every project
rising
you'll
like
see
proud
is
plumes
not
crowning
only
each
practical,
miniature warrior.
but poetic,
The crafting
designed
process
to
feels
spark
both
joy,
artistic and
save
symbolic.
money,
Old
and
bottles are
inspire
cut
your
in shape,
creativity.
then
Stay
painted
with
with
us
bold
until the
metallic
end,
tones that
because
evoke the look
each
of
idea
armor.
is simple
Families
enough
can
for
add
anyone
small
to try at
paper or
home,
cardboard crests
yet
to mimic
magical enough to
traditional
make your
May Day.
garden feel like
The
a
decorative emblems
sanctuary.
worn on samurai
And before we
helmets.
dive in,
Once herbs
don't
are
forget to
planted,
subscribe
the
to
bottles
Crafted Nest,
transform into
your
a
home
proud
for
line of
weekly
warriors
inspiration where
standing ready in
creativity
the garden.
meets sustainability.
Children especially
Let's
enjoy
grow
painting
something
helmets with
beautiful
dragon
together.
or sun designs, turning history into living art. Beyond their striking design,
If
these
you've ever
samurai
glanced at
helmet
an
bottles
old tire
are
lying
functional
abandoned by the
hydroponic planters.
roadside,
They
it might
conserve
have
water while
seemed like
sustaining
nothing
herbs,
more than waste.
making them practical for
But with a
kitchens,
touch of
patios, or
imagination,
balconies.
that very
displayed
tire
together,
can become a
they create
whimsical
the
garden
illusion of a
planter that
samurai
brings
army
life
guarding the
and
garden.
color to your outdoor
Each helmet
space.
alive with greenery.
This is the beauty
At
of
night,
DIY,
soft lantern
seeing
lights can
potential
highlight
in what
their
others
painted
call
details,
trash,
giving
and
them a
turning it
regal
into a
presence.
treasure that
For
sings
families,
with personality.
crafting
Picture
samurai
this,
helmet planters is
a
more
set
than
of
just
tires
DIY.
painted in joyful
It is a way to
shades
share
of
stories
turquoise,
of history,
yellow,
honor, and resilience
or
while
fuchsia,
building something sustainable.
each one
For
cradling
communities,
blossoms that spill
rows of these
gently
planters
over the
can become
edges.
cultural
Their
installations,
circular frames
blending
become
tradition
little
with
worlds of
eco-conscious
greenery
living.
and flowers,
And when sunlight
catching the eye
gleams on the
of
golden
anyone
accents,
who walks past.
the bottles shine
Tires
like
are
armor
sturdy,
polished for battle.
weather-resistant,
Their herbs
and
sway
easy to
proudly
shape
above,
into creative
like
designs.
warrior crests alive
Whether you
with
hang them
nature,
from a tree
proof
branch
that
or
even
stack them
discarded
into a
plastic
playful
can rise
tower,
again.
they add
Not
an
as waste,
unexpected
but
charm
as
to your
symbols of
garden.
strength, culture,
One
and
practical
life.
tip is
Coral
to drill
reefs are
a
the
few
ocean's
small
hidden
holes at
cities,
the bottom for
bursting
drainage
with
before
color
filling
and
the
life.
tire with soil.
The bottle coral
This
wave garden
prevents your
brings
plants
that
from
wonder onto
drowning
land,
after heavy rain.
transforming
Adding a
recycled
splash of
bottles
outdoor
into
paint not
miniature
only
reefs
makes the
blooming
tire
with
pop
herbs.
with vibrancy,
Imagine
but
bottles
also
painted in
protects it
vibrant
from the
shades of
elements.
orange, blue,
If
and
you want to
pink,
save space,
textured
try
with
hanging a
brushstrokes
tire
that
planter
mimic
on your
coral
fence
branches.
and fill
From
it
their
with
top
trailing
sprout
plants
herbs
like
like basil,
ivy or
mint, or
petunias.
parsley,
The
rising like
cascading
sea
effect
plants
looks
swaying in an
magical.
invisible current.
What makes this
The crafting
project
process
so
feels like
rewarding
painting
is
the
how
ocean
accessible
itself.
it is.
Old
You
bottles
don't need
are cut,
advanced tools
painted,
or a big
and
budget.
decorated with
Just
sponges
a
to
spare
create
tire,
coral-like
some
textures.
paint, and your
Families can
favorite
experiment
flowers.
with neon
And
paints or
suddenly,
glow-in-the-dark
what
details,
was once forgotten becomes
making the bottle
the heart
shimmer at
of
night
your garden.
like bioluminescent
It's a reminder
reefs.
that beauty
Once
often
planted,
hides in the
the
most
greenery completes the
unexpected
illusion,
places, waiting
as if
for
the
us
coral
to bring
itself
it back
is
to
alive
life.
with fresh herbs.
There's something
Children
enchanting
especially
about
love
glass in
painting
the
fish
garden.
or starfish on
When
the
sunlight
sides,
touches a bottle,
turning the project
it
into
bends
a
the
reef
light,
full of surprises.
casting playful
Beyond their
glimmers that
dazzling
dance
design,
across leaves
these
and
bottles
soil.
are functional
What once
hydroponic
was a
planters.
collection of
Each
empty
one
soda
holds
bottles
water
or
and nutrients
discarded
for
wine
herbs,
containers can
conserving
transform
resources
into
while
glowing
creating
borders
beauty,
and magical
arranged
walls,
in clusters
giving
on
your
sandy
outdoor
beds
space
or
a
against a
touch
garden
of
wall.
wonder.
They
Imagine
resemble
walking
reef
along a
outcrops
pathway
bursting
lined
with
with
life,
glass bottles,
perfect for patios,
each one
balconies, or
buried
coastal
neck
themed
down
spaces.
into the earth.
They blend
The morning
art,
sun
ecology,
catches
and
their
gardening.
curves,
For
creating a
families,
rainbow-like
crafting
shimmer
cool wave
as you
gardens
stroll
is
past.
both creative and
It's
educational,
simple, yet it feels
sparking
like
conversations
stepping
about
into
the
a secret
importance of coral
garden.
reefs and
And
ocean
beyond their
conservation.
beauty, these
For
bottle
communities,
borders act as a
such
sturdy
displays can
and
serve as
eco-friendly
reminders of
edging for
marine
your
beauty and
plants or
fragility,
pathways.
inspiring
Another
sustainable
inspiring
choices.
idea is crafting
And when
a garden
sunlight
wall out of
shines on the
bottles.
painted bottles,
When stacked
their
tightly
bright
with
colors
mortar
glow like
or
a
wood
reef under
frames,
shallow waters,
the bottles
while
become
herbs sprout
tiny
above
windows
like
for
living
light.
sea plants.
In the late
It
afternoon,
feels like the ocean has
your
risen
wall
to the
comes
garden,
alive as
proof
golden
that
rays
even
pass
discarded
through,
plastic
scattering
can become cool
patterns
again,
across your garden
reborn
floor.
as waves of
It's
beauty,
a sustainable
resilience,
solution
and
that
life.
not only
The crane is a
recycles waste,
timeless
but
symbol of
also
hope,
adds a
peace, and
striking
longevity,
architectural touch.
often captured
If
in
you
the
prefer
delicate
something
folds of
smaller,
origami.
try turning
The
bottles
bottle
into
origami
lanterns.
crane herb holders
Place
carry
a
that
candle
meaning
or
into the
insert
garden,
fairy lights inside.
transforming
Hang them
recycled
from
bottles
branches,
into graceful
and you'll have a
birds blooming
warm,
with green.
glowing atmosphere
Imagine
that
bottles
feels
cut and
welcoming
shaped to
in the
resemble
evening.
folded paper
The
cranes,
beauty of working with
painted
glass
in
bottles
soft
is
whites
how
and
accessible it
pastel
is.
shades.
No
From
fancy tools required, just a careful eye and
as though
a
the
bit of
cranes are
patience.
carrying life on their
And
wings.
every time the sunlight
The crafting
hits,
process
you're
is both
reminded that
playful
light
and
can
meaningful.
pass through
Old
even the
bottles
most
are cut into
ordinary
angular
things,
shapes that mimic
revealing
origami folds,
unexpected beauty.
then painted
It's
in
not
light
just
colors
garden
with
decor,
wing-like details.
it's poetry written
Families
in glass
can decorate
and
each
sunlight.
crane differently.
Sometimes the
Some with
simplest
pastel
materials
wings,
hold the
others with
greatest
golden
promise.
accents, and
A
some with
weathered
painted
wooden
feathers.
pallet,
Once
often
herbs
left
are planted,
forgotten in
the
warehouses or
cranes come
alleys,
alive,
can rise again as a rustic vertical herb
in the
garden.
garden.
A living wall
Children
that
especially
breathes
enjoy
fragrance
arranging
and
them into
freshness
groups.
into your backyard.
Turn the yard into a story
This
of flight
is where
and harmony.
practicality meets
Beyond their
poetry,
elegant design,
where each
these
slat
crane
becomes a
planters
cradle
are
for life.
functional hydroponic
Picture a
systems.
pallet
They
leaning
can
gently
serve water
against
and
your
space
fence.
while sustaining
Pockets
herbs,
of soil
making them
nestled between
practical
the boards,
as well as symbolic.
sprouting basil,
Perfect for
rosemary,
patios, balconies, or
thyme,
meditation
and mint.
corners.
With
They blend
every brush
art,
of your hand,
culture, and
you
gardening
release
into one
a fresh
serene
scent
display.
that mingles
With soft
the
fairy
warm
lights.
afternoon
The
air.
cranes glow at
The
night
sight of those
as though
small
lit by the
leaves
moon.
reaching toward the
For
light
families,
is not only beautiful,
crafting crane
it's
holders is a
deeply
way to share
satisfying.
cultural meaning
You're
while
nurturing
creating
both
something
your garden
sustainable.
and your kitchen,
For communities,
bringing flavors
groups of
straight
crane
from the
bottles can
walls to your
serve as
table.
artistic installations
One
that
helpful
symbolize
tip
unity
is
and
to line the
peace
palette
while
with
promoting
landscaping fabric
eco-friendly
before
living.
adding soil.
And when sunlight
This
filters
prevents
through
the
their
dirt
painted
from
surfaces,
spilling out while
the
keeping the
bottles
roots
shine
secure.
softly.
Labeling
Their
each
herbs swaying
section
like
with
feathers in the
handwritten
breeze.
wooden tags adds
It
a
feels as
personal
though
touch,
hope itself has taken root
turning
in
your
the
garden into both a
Proof
pantry
that even
and a piece of
discarded
art.
plastic
And
can
if
take flight
space is
again,
limited,
reborn
this
as
vertical
cranes of
design
life,
is a blessing.
beauty, and peace.
A compact
The
solution
future
for
shines in
balconies,
neon,
patios,
bright
or
colors glowing
tiny
against the dark,
courtyards.
blending
What makes
technology
this project
with art.
so rewarding
The bottle
is its
futuristic
accessibility.
neon hydroponics
You don't need expensive
captures that
materials,
vision,
just an
turning
old
recycled
palette,
bottles
some
into glowing
creativity,
planters
and
that feel
a
like
little
they belong in
patience.
tomorrow's
Over
gardens.
time,
Imagine
your herb
bottles
garden
painted in
becomes
metallic
more than
silvers and
just a
blacks,
source of ingredients.
accented with glowing
It
neon
becomes a
lines in
companion.
blue, pink,
It greets
and
you
green.
each morning
From the
with
top
new
sprout
growth,
herbs like basil
offers
and mint,
comfort with its
illuminated
scents,
by hidden
and
LED
reminds you
lights
that
make them
even
glow
the
like life
humblest
itself,
scraps of
powered by
wood can
energy.
become a
The
source of
crafting
abundance.
process feels like
This
stepping
is
into
the
science
heart
fiction.
of DIY gardening.
Old bottles are cut
Not
and painted
perfection,
with futuristic patterns,
but transformation.
then decorated with
From
glow-in-the-dark
rough timber
paints,
to
or
fragrant
fitted with
harvest.
tiny LED
It's
strips.
proof that beauty
Families
can grow
experiment
vertically,
with different neon
even
colors,
from the simplest
creating
of
bottles
beginnings.
that glow in the
Every
night
broken
like living
piece
circuit
tells a
boards.
story.
Once
A chipped
herbs are
plate,
planted,
a cracked
the result
teacup,
is a cyber
or a
garden where
shattered tile
nature
once
and
belonged
technology
to
meet.
everyday life.
Children especially
Instead of
love watching
discarding
the
them,
bottles light up,
why not let those
turning a simple
fragments
DIY
find new
project
purpose
into
beneath
a
your
glowing
feet?
display of
With
imagination
a little patience,
beyond their
broken
futuristic
ceramics
appearance.
can be reborn
These
as stepping
bottles are
stones,
functional hydroponic
guiding your walk
systems.
through the garden
They can
with
serve
color
water
and
and
memory.
space while producing fresh
Imagine
herbs,
strolling along a
making them both
pathway where each
sustainable
step
and
lands
stylish.
on a mosaic
Perfect
of
for
blues,
balconies, apartments,
greens,
or
and
modern
yellows,
garden spaces.
sparkling
They look
under the
just as
afternoon
striking
sun.
indoors
The
as they
shards
do
catch
outdoors.
the light,
At
turning
night,
something
they glow
ordinary
like
into
neon
something
sculptures,
magical.
making them
Each
both
stone
decor
is
and
unique.
conversation starters.
No two
For
patterns
families,
alike, like little
crafting neon
artworks
bottle gardens
laid
is an
gently on
exciting
the ground.
activity that blends
It's not just
creativity
a
with
walkway.
innovation.
It's a
For
gallery of
communities,
moments preserved in
displays
color
of glowing
and
bottles
texture.
can decorate festivals,
Creating
schools,
mosaic
or
stepping
events,
stones is simpler
showing
than
how
it looks.
recycling can look
Use a
futuristic
mold or an
while
old
staying
cake pan,
eco-friendly.
pour in
And when
cement,
night falls,
and gently
the
press the
bottles glow like
ceramic
stars
pieces
of a
into
new
place.
world.
Once
Their
it
herbs
sets,
rising like
smooth out the
crowns of
surface
green
with
energy.
grout, and
It
you'll have a
feels as though the
durable
future
piece
is
of
sprouting in
art
the
ready
garden.
for the outdoors.
Proof that
A
even
useful
discarded
tip
plastic
is to seal
can
the
shine
stones
again,
with weatherproof
reborn
coating,
as beacons of
ensuring the
sustainability,
colors stay
creativity,
vibrant
and
through
tomorrow.
rain and shine.
Butterflies symbolize
Beyond their
transformation, beauty, and the
these
joy of
stones
nature's
carry
colors.
emotion.
The
That
bottle
old
butterfly
bowl
dome
from your
garden
grandmother,
captures that
now
spirit,
part of your garden path,
turning recycled
becomes
bottles
a bridge
into vibrant
between
domes
past
alive
and
with
present.
greenery.
Each step
Imagine
you
bottles
take
painted
isn't
with
only
butterfly
practical.
wings,
It's a
orange
walk
like
through
monarchs,
stories,
blue
memories,
like
and
morphos,
creativity.
yellow like
In the
swallowtails.
end, what
Each
was
one
once
blooming with
broken
herbs from the
doesn't
top,
remain lost.
arranged together.
Instead,
They
it
form a
becomes part of
sanctuary of
something
color,
greater,
like
something
butterflies
that
resting
brings
in a
joy
garden of life.
and meaning to your
The
everyday
crafting
walk.
process is cheerful
This
and
is
full
the
of
true
creativity.
magic of
Old
mosaics,
bottles are cut
turning
and shaped
fragments
into
of
dome-like
yesterday
planters,
into the
then
foundation
painted
for
with
tomorrow.
butterfly designs.
There is a certain
Families can
poetry
experiment
in the
with
way the
patterns and
wind
colors,
moves through
giving each
objects,
bottle its own
turning
species.
silence into music.
Some may look
Old
realistic,
keys that once
while
opened
others
doors,
glow with playful
spoons
imagination.
that once stirred soup,
Once herbs like
and
basil,
bottle caps
mint,
that
or
once
parsley
sealed
are planted.
laughter-filled evenings.
The planters come alive,
All of them can sing
resembling
again when
butterflies
gathered
carrying
into a
gardens on
wind
their
chime.
wings.
What
Children
others see
especially
as
love
junk
painting
becomes an
wings that look
instrument of calm.
as if they are ready
Picture
to flutter
this.
away.
A gentle
Beyond their
breeze
beauty,
sweeps across your
these
garden,
butterfly
and
domes are
suddenly the
functional
air is
hydroponic
filled with a
planters.
soft,
They can
melodic
serve water
clinking.
while producing herbs,
Each sound is
making them
unique,
perfect for patios,
unpredictable,
balconies, or small yards. Their bright designs bring charm to any space, and when arranged in groups, they resemble a butterfly meadow, colorful and green.
These wind
with fairy
chimes
lights
not
added
only
at
bring
night.
charm,
The domes
they bring
glow
presence,
softly, turning the garden into a magical sanctuary.
Creating
For
one
families,
is as simple as
crafting
tying
butterfly dome
strings to an
gardens is a
old branch
joyful
or
bonding
wooden
activity,
ring, then attaching
mixing
your
art
chosen
and
scrap items.
sustainability.
Keys produce a
butterfly
delicate
displays
tinkle,
can decorate
spoons
schools,
a deeper
parks, or
chime,
festivals,
and caps a
teaching
playful
children
rattle.
about transformation
Experiment
and the
with
importance
different
of recycling.
objects and placements
And when sunlight
to find
touches
your
their
garden's
painted wings,
perfect voice.
the bottles gleam
One
like
practical
butterflies
tip
caught
is
in
to coat
mid-flight.
the metals with
Their
clear
herbs
varnish
swaying
if you want to
gently
reduce
above.
rust
It
while
feels as though
keeping their rustic
transformation has
shine.
rooted in the garden.
The beauty of this
Proof that
DIY
even
is that
discarded
it's
plastic
never
can
uniform.
bloom again.
Each
Reborn
chime
as
carries
symbols
its
of
own
beauty,
personality,
change, and
depending on
life.
what materials
Temples
you have.
have always
And
carried the
every
weight of
time the
history.
wind blows,
Their stone
it
walls
plays a
whispering
song that
stories
belongs
of time
only
and
to your
devotion.
garden.
The bottled
In a
stone
world
temple
often
planters
filled
bring
with
that
noise,
atmosphere into the garden,
these homemade chimes
transforming
create harmony.
recycled bottles
They
into
remind
miniature
us that
sanctuaries
even the most
alive with
ordinary
plants.
scraps can find
Imagine
a new
bottles
life,
painted in
not
stone gray
just as
tones,
decoration,
textured
but as
with
music,
carvings and moss
the
accents.
music of renewal,
From their top sprout herbs like
resilience, and
basil or
joy.
mint,
Water,
resembling
the
sacred temple
lifeblood
gardens,
of every
growing
garden,
in harmony with
often
nature.
slips away
The
faster
crafting
than we
process
realize.
feels meditative
But
and
what if a
meaningful.
simple plastic
Old
bottle,
bottles are cut
something
and
we
painted
usually
with
throw
sponges
away,
or textured
could
brushes
become a
to
clever
mimic weathered
guardian
stone.
that keeps your plants
Families can
nourished
add
day
moss
after
or
day?
earthy pigments
That
to
is
give
the
the bottles
gift of
an aged
self-watering
look,
planters.
while children
Simple,
decorate them with carvings
sustainable,
or
and
symbols inspired
surprisingly
by
elegant.
ancient temples.
Picture this:
Once herbs
a
are
line
planted,
of bottles,
the bottles
each
take
cut
on a
in
serene
half,
quality,
the top inverted
looking
like
like
a funnel
ruins reclaimed
and
by
filled
greenery.
with rich soil.
Beyond their
A
ancient
string
charm,
of cotton threads
these
dips
temple
into the
bottles
water
are
reservoir
functional
below,
hydroponic planters.
slowly feeding
Each
the plant
one
above.
sustains herbs while
It's
conserving
quiet
water,
magic.
making them
The earth
practical
drinking
as
at
well
its
as
own
artistic.
pace, without
Arranged in
waste,
clusters,
without hurry.
they resemble a
Your
lost city
herbs
or
stay
sacred
lush
site
and
hidden within the
green,
garden,
even when your busy
sparking
days keep
curiosity
you from
and
watering.
wonder.
One
Perfect for
practical
patios,
tip is to
meditation
use
corners, or
dark-colored
themed
bottles
spaces.
or paint the
They bring
outside
peace
to
and
block
beauty
excessive
together.
sunlight,
For
which
families,
helps reduce algae growth
crafting stone
inside the
temple
water
planters is
chamber.
a chance to
Another
combine
trick
history,
is to test
culture,
with
and
different wick
sustainability.
materials.
For
Cotton
communities,
works beautifully,
clusters
but
of these bottles can
recycled cloth
serve as
strips
artistic
also
installations,
do the job.
reminding
Over
people
time,
heritage
you'll
while
notice your
promoting
plants growing
eco-friendly
healthier.
living. And
Their
when
roots
sunlight strikes
always
their
gently
textured
hydrated.
surfaces,
This
the bottles
project
glow
is perfect for
softly,
those living in
their
small
herbs
spaces
rising above like
or
crowns
with busy
of sacred
schedules.
life.
Place
It
the
feels as
planters
though
on your
time itself
balcony,
has found balance in the
windowsill,
garden.
or
Proof that
even
even
indoors
discarded
near a sunny
plastic
spot.
can carry the
You'll not
dignity of
only
stone,
save water, but
reborn as
also
temples of
save
growth,
time,
history, and
all
renewal.
while giving plastic a second
Rainbows
life
have
that
always been
truly
symbols
matters.
of joy and promise,
More than a gardening hack,
filling the sky
these
with hope after
self-watering
rain.
bottles are
The
a
bottle
quiet
rainbow
teacher.
spiral towers
They remind
capture
us
that
that
beauty in a garden
sustainability
form,
isn't complicated.
transforming
It's about
recycled
noticing
bottles into vibrant
possibilities
spirals
hidden
of
in the
greenery.
simplest things.
Imagine
With
bottles
every
painted in
green
full
leaf
spectrum
that
of rainbow
thrives,
colors:
you'll
red,
see that care
orange,
doesn't
yellow,
have to be
green,
constant,
blue,
but it
indigo,
must
and
be
violet,
thoughtful.
stacked
And in that
into a
balance,
twisting
beauty
tower.
grows.
From their top
Every piece
sprout
of
herbs
furniture
like
carries
basil,
a
mint,
story.
and parsley,
The chair that
rising
once held
upward in a
quiet
dance of color
conversations,
and life.
the dresser
The
that
crafting
once
process
cradled
feels
folded
exciting
clothes.
and playful.
They may grow
Old bottles are cleaned
but they
and
need
painted
not
in bright,
grow
glossy
useless.
tones.
With a little
Each one representing
creativity,
a color of the
they can be
rainbow.
reborn in the
Families
garden,
arrange them in a
not
corkscrew
as
design,
forgotten relics,
creating a
but as
spiral that
living
seems to climb
planters
toward the sky.
overflowing with life.
Once herbs are planted,
Picture an old
the bottles
wooden chair,
become both art and
its seat
function,
hollowed out
a tower
and
of
replaced
nature
with a
crowned
pot
with
of bright
freshness.
geraniums.
Children
The
especially
weathered
love
paint,
painting their favorite
chipped
colors,
and softened
and
by
watching
time,
them connect into a
contrasts
full
beautifully
rainbow.
with the fresh bloom
Beyond
of
their
flowers.
dazzling look,
It becomes a
these
sculpture
spiral
of
towers
contrast,
are functional
the
hydroponic
old
planters.
and the new,
They can
decay
serve water
and
while
renewal,
producing herbs,
woven
making
together
them
in
ideal
a
for
single
patios,
frame.
balconies, or
Now
small
imagine
gardens.
a dresser.
Their
Its
vertical
drawers
spiral
pulled
design
open at
maximizes
playful
space,
angles,
while creating a
each
striking
one spilling
visual
with
centerpiece.
ivy, petunias,
At night,
or mint.
with string
From
lights
afar,
added,
it looks like a
the
cascade,
rainbow tower
a
glows like a beacon
waterfall
of color
of green
and
and
sustainability.
color tumbling down.
For families,
It is whimsical
crafting
yet
rainbow
practical,
spiral gardens
breathing
is a
new
joyful
life
bonding
into
activity,
something that might have been
mixing
destined for
creativity
the
with
landfill.
eco-friendly living.
One helpful
For
tip
communities,
is to drill
rainbow
drainage
towers
holes
can
in the
brighten
drawers
schools,
or chair
parks,
seat
or
before
festivals,
planting, ensuring
standing
your
as
flowers
symbols of diversity
thrive
and
without
growth.
waterlogging.
And when sunlight
Painting the
hits the glossy
furniture
colors,
in weatherproof colors
the bottles
adds
gleam
not
like
just
jewel-stacked
charm, but
emotion.
also longevity.
Their herbs swaying
And if you
gently
love
above.
the rustic look,
It feels
leaving
as
the
though a
wood
rainbow
raw
has
allows
rooted
the
itself in the
patina
garden.
of time to
Proof
shine
that
through.
even discarded
These
plastic
vintage planters
can
are more than
spiral upward
decor.
again,
They are
reborn as
reminders that
towers of
nothing
beauty,
truly
hope, and
loses its
renewal.
value.
Lanterns
What once
along
belonged to the
symbolize
indoors
light
now
and warmth,
finds a second
guiding
act
the way
beneath the
through
sky,
night with beauty
carrying
and hope.
beauty in
The bottle
unexpected
solar
ways.
lantern herb garden captures
bloom
that
tells
tradition
you,
in a
even
sustainable
what
way,
seems worn out
transforming
can still hold a
recycled
garden
bottles
in its
into
heart.
glowing
A
planters
garden
crowned
path
with life.
is more than a
Imagine
walkway.
bottles painted
It is
in
an
warm shades of
invitation,
red,
a
amber,
guide,
and gold,
a quiet story
decorated
beneath
with
your
cutout
steps.
patterns that glow
And when
softly
built with
when lit.
recycled bricks
From the
and
top
broken
sprout
tiles,
herbs like
that
basil or
story
mint,
becomes
creating
even
a
richer.
magical blend of
Each
lantern light
fragment carries
and living
history,
greenery.
Each
The
crack
crafting
whispers
process
of another
is
life,
as rewarding as
now
it is
woven
creative.
into the
Old
present
bottles are
as
cut
part
and
of
painted with
something
lantern-like
beautiful.
designs,
Imagine
swirls,
strolling
florals,
through
or
your
geometric
backyard,
cutouts.
your feet
Families
tracing a
place small
mosaic
solar
made
lights
from
inside,
discarded tiles
charging
and
during the day
uneven
to
bricks.
glow at night.
Sunlight
Once herbs
strikes
are
the
planted at the
glazed
tops.
surfaces,
The
making
planters
them gleam
transform
like
into
hidden
radiant
jewels
lanterns
among the
that brighten the
soil
garden
and
with
moss.
both light and
The
life.
pathway doesn't
Children
strive for
especially
perfection.
love watching the bottles come
Instead,
alive when twilight
it celebrates character.
turning the yard
Every
into a glowing
imperfection
festival
becomes a mark of
beyond their
authenticity.
decorative charm.
Every irregular
These
edge a
lanterns are
testament
practical
to
hydroponic
resourcefulness.
systems. They
Building such a
conserve
path
water while
doesn't
supporting
demand
fresh herbs,
expensive materials.
making them sustainable
Collect
as well as
leftover
beautiful.
bricks from
Lying
old
along a
construction
pathway,
or
they
salvage
serve
broken
as
tiles
glowing
from
garden
renovation
lights,
projects.
arranged in
Lay
clusters.
them out on
They
compacted
resemble
soil,
a celebration
filling
of
gaps with
eco-friendly
gravel,
living,
sand,
perfect for patios,
or
balconies,
even
or
moss for a
community
natural
spaces.
finish.
They add
A useful
atmosphere
tip is
while
to arrange
nourishing
larger
plants.
pieces at the
For
center for
families,
stability,
crafting
while
solar
smaller
lantern
shards
planters
can
is
be
a
used
joyful
along the
evening
sides
project,
for decoration.
combining
The result
painting,
is both
gardening, and
practical and
sustainable
artistic,
energy. For
guiding your
communities,
way while
such
brightening
glowing
your
gardens
garden
can decorate
with
festivals,
unexpected
parks,
colors.
or walkways,
The beauty of recycled
inspiring
pathways
eco-conscious
lies
choices
in their
while creating
adaptability.
beauty. And when the
Straight
sun
or
sets,
winding,
the bottles
bold or
glow
subtle,
warmly.
they mold
Their
themselves
herbs
to your
silhouetted
space.
above like leafy
And
crowns
every
of light.
time you walk
It
across,
feels as though hope
you'll
itself
feel
has
the
been planted
union
in the
of
garden.
utility and
Proof
art under
that
your
even
feet.
discarded
These
plastic
pathways
can shine
remind us
again,
that nothing
reborn
truly
as
goes to
lanterns
waste.
of life, warmth,
Bricks
and
once
renewal.
part of a wall,
Deserts may seem
tiles
harsh,
once part of a
yet
floor.
cacti bloom with
Now they
resilience,
serve again,
carrying
carrying
life
you
where
through your
water is
garden.
scarce.
It is a
The
gentle
bottle cactus
lesson.
desert wall
With
celebrates that
imagination,
spirit of survival,
even fragments can
transforming
lead us
recycled
forward.
bottles into
Every
playful,
bicycle
spiky
carries
gardens.
echoes of journeys
Imagine
once taken.
bottles painted in
Childhood
rich greens,
rides down quiet
speckled
streets,
with white
errands
dots
to
to
the
mimic
market,
cactus
or
thorns.
leisurely
Some
evenings
even
along
shaped with
winding
arms
roads.
to resemble tall saguaros.
When those wheels no
From
longer
the top
turn,
sprout
their
herbs like
story
basil
doesn't
or
have
parsley,
to end.
blooming
In the
like
garden,
desert flowers
a
in the sun.
bicycle frame
The
can be
crafting
reborn as a
process
sculpture,
is lively and
a
fun.
planter,
Old
or
bottles
even
are
a
clean,
trellis that
painted with
marries
cactus
memory
designs
with creativity.
and texture with brushes
Picture an
or
old
sponges to
bicycle
give a
leaning
rugged
gracefully
feel.
against a
Families
fence,
can add cardboard
its
or
basket
plastic arms to
overflowing
create
with
tall
petunias
cactus
and
shapes.
marigolds.
Then arrange the
Ivy
bottles
climbs
vertically
through
on
the
a wall.
spokes,
Once
weaving
planted,
itself into
the
patterns
greenery
of
makes the
green
bottles
lace.
look like desert
What was
plants
once a
alive
vehicle
with
of
blossoms.
motion now becomes
Children
a still
especially
life
enjoy
of
painting
beauty,
funny faces on the
rooted
cacti,
firmly in place,
giving each
yet
one its own
alive
quirky
in
personality.
A
Beyond their
bicycle wheel
playful
alone
design,
can serve
these
as a
cactus
canvas.
bottles serve
Mounted
as
upright,
hydroponic planters.
it makes a
They
perfect
conserve water
trellis for
efficiently,
jasmine or
just as
climbing
real
roses.
cacti thrive in
The
the
spokes
desert,
guide
perfect
each
for
vine
patios,
upward,
balconies, or
creating
sunny
a delicate
backyard walls.
geometry that
They turn
changes with
empty
the
spaces
seasons.
into
Or,
desert-inspired
for
art
the bold,
while producing
weld
fresh
multiple
herbs.
frames together
With small
into
lights
whimsical
added at night,
sculptures.
the wall
Abstract
glows like a
forms that
desert
catch
scene
the
under the
eye
stars.
and start
For
conversations.
families,
Practical
crafting
tips.
cactus
If
gardens
you're
is
using a
both
full
creative
bike,
and educational,
remove the tires
teaching
to prevent
resilience while
decay
encouraging
and paint the
eco-friendly
frame
habits.
with
For
weatherproof
communities,
colors.
a
Bright
cactus
hues
wall
like
can become a
turquoise
vibrant
or
display in
sunflower
schools
yellow
or
can
public
turn it
spaces,
into a cheerful focal
reminding
point.
everyone that beauty
Wheels can be
can
sprayed
grow
with
even from
protective
scarcity.
coating to hold their
And when
shine
sunlight
through rain
strikes their
and
painted
sun.
surfaces,
These
the
sculptures
bottles
are
glow
more
like
than
desert
decorations.
gems. Their
They are
herbs rising
reminders
like
of
flowers
movement,
after rare
of life
rain.
cycles,
It feels as though the
transformed
desert has
into
blossomed
art
a
that
home.
rests quietly
Proof
in your
that
garden.
even discarded plastic
Each rusted
can grow
spoke
strong
and curved
again,
handlebar speaks
reborn
of the
as
past.
gardens of
Yet
resilience,
in their
color,
new
and
role,
life.
they celebrate
Dragons live
growth.
in myths.
It's a
Their
way of
eggs
saying
hold the
that
promise
beauty
of fire,
doesn't fade with
flight,
time.
and wonder.
It
The
simply
bottled
changes
dragon egg
shape,
planters bring that
waiting to
legend
be
into the
discovered
garden,
anew.
transforming
Sometimes the most
recycled bottles
enchanting
into
illusions
magical
come from
eggs
the
that bloom
simplest
with life.
objects.
Imagine
An old
bottles
window
painted
frame,
in metallic greens,
once part of
fiery
a
reds,
forgotten
and
house,
shimmering golds,
can become a
textured
mirror
with
that
scale-like
doubles the
patterns.
beauty of your garden.
From the top sprout
doesn't
herbs
just
like basil or
reflect,
mint,
it
rising like
transforms.
flames from cracked
With
shells.
every glance,
Arranged
it
together,
opens the
they
imagination
look
to
like a nested
spaces
dragon
that feel
eggs ready
larger,
to hatch into
deeper,
greenery.
and more
The
magical.
crafting process feels
Picture
like
a wooden
storytelling in
frame,
motion.
its paint
Old
chipped
bottles
by
are
time,
cut, reshaped,
hanging
and
gently
painted
on
with
a
sponge
fence.
or stencil patterns
Inside,
that mimic scales.
a mirror captures
Families
the
can
blossoms
experiment with
swaying in
metallic
the
paints,
breeze,
glitter,
making your
or
garden
glowing
appear
accents to
twice
make the
as
eggs
lush.
feel enchanted.
The reflection
Once
draws your
herbs are
eyes
planted,
into another
the
world,
bottles
as
transform
though
into
you're
magical
peeking
into
artifacts,
a secret garden that exists
sparking
just
imaginations of
beyond your
dragons
own.
guarding their hidden
Placing
treasure.
mirrors in the
Children
garden
especially
isn't only
enjoy
aesthetic,
painting cracks
it's
on the
practical.
shelves,
They
making the
brighten
plants
shaded
look as though
corners
they're breaking
by
free from
bouncing
within,
sunlight where it rarely
beyond their
reaches.
mythical charm.
A small space
These
feels
dragon egg
more
bottles
expansive,
are functional
alive
hydroponic
with dimension.
planters.
They can serve water and space while
angle the
producing
mirror
herbs,
slightly downward,
making them practical
so it
as
reflects
well as
flowers
enchanting.
and greenery instead
Perfect
of
for
the sky,
patios, themed
creating
corners,
the
or
illusion
fantasy-inspired
of
events.
endless depth.
They bring a sense
Another
of wonder
is to seal
while
the
staying
edges with
eco-friendly.
waterproofing to
At
protect
night,
it from rain
with
and
soft lights
humidity.
beneath them,
You can keep the
eggs
frame
glow
rustic,
like treasures
embracing
in a
its
dragon's
weathered
lair.
charm,
For
or
families,
painted in fresh,
crafting dragon
cheerful
egg
colors
planters is
to
a
match
creative
your plants.
adventure that blends
Either way,
fantasy, art,
the
and
effect is
sustainability.
captivating.
For
A
communities,
simple transformation
clustered
that
dragon
turns
eggs can become
old
a
wood
striking
and glass
installation for
into a
schools,
portal of
parks,
beauty.
or festivals.
What's most
Inspiring
inspiring is
stories
how
while
this
promoting
project
recycling.
reminds us of
And when
perspective.
sunlight reflects
A
off the
mirror
metallic
doesn't
scales,
create new flowers.
the bottles shine
It
like
shows
relics
us the
from another
beauty
world.
we already have.
Their herbs sprouting
Doubled
like flames
in
of life.
and
It
in the
feels
garden.
as though magic
Sometimes
itself
we
is
just
rooted in
need
the
a
garden.
fresh view to
Proof
realize
that
how
even
much abundance
discarded
surrounds
plastic
us.
can hatch into beauty.
That's the quiet
Reborn
gift
as
of an
symbols of
old
fantasy,
window reborn.
growth, and imagination.
It teaches us to see
Vikings
again
carried their
with
shields
wonder.
not just as a protection,
There is a certain
but
warmth
as symbols
in
of
wooden
identity
crates,
and courage.
simple,
The bottle
sturdy,
Viking
and
shield
timeless.
hydroponics honor that
Once
tradition.
used to carry fruits or
Transforming
store
recycled
tools,
bottles
they can be
into
reborn
bold
in the
circular
garden
shields
as
that bloom
charming
with life.
displays for herbs.
Imagine bottles
Stacked
painted
like
in
steps,
deep reds, silvers,
these
and
crates
blacks,
create a living
detailed with wooden
staircase of
textures
fragrance
and
and
runic
color,
symbols.
turning
From their top
even the
sprout
smallest
herbs like
corner
basil
into
or
a
mint,
delightful patch of
standing
abundance.
tall like warrior crests
Imagine
sway
a
in the
tiered
wind.
arrangement
The
of crates
crafting
leaning
process
gently
feels
against the
adventurous
wall,
and strong.
each level
Old
brimming
bottles
with
are cut,
basil,
flattened,
thyme,
and painted with shield
mint,
patterns.
and parsley.
Some simple and
The
bold,
green leaves
others
spill over
intricate
the
with
edges,
Norse motifs.
their scents carried
Families
by the
can add
breeze.
metallic paints for
The
iron
wood,
edges or
weathered by
wood-like
time,
textures for
contrasts
authenticity.
beautifully with
Once
the
herbs
fresh
are planted,
vibrancy of the
the
herbs.
bottles take on the look
It
of
feels
Shields Garden
rustic
to
yet
Garden,
elegant,
a wall of
practical
protection
yet
alive with
poetic.
greenery.
Building
Children
this
especially
display
enjoy
is simple.
painting runes or
Place
dragons
one
onto
crate
designs,
on the ground,
making
then
each
stack the
shield
others
unique
slightly back
beyond
to
their
create
fierce
natural
appearance.
tiers.
These
Line
Viking
the
shield
inside
bottles
with
are
landscape
functional
fabric or
hydroponic
plastic
planters.
to keep soil
They
in
can
place.
serve water while
And don't
producing
forget
herbs,
to drill small
making them both
drainage holes.
sustainable and
A
symbolic.
useful tip is to
Arranged along a
dedicate
wall
each
or
crate to a
fence,
different family
they
of
resemble a
herbs,
shield
culinary
wall of
on
nature,
one,
protecting
medicinal on
not with
another,
steel,
so that
but with
harvesting
life.
becomes both
At night,
easy and
with
organized.
torches or lanterns nearby,
If space is
they
tight,
glow like shields
crates
of
can be
Viking
arranged
feast.
vertically,
For families,
forming a compact wall
crafting
of
Viking
greenery
shield
that
planters
thrives
is a fun
even
way
on
to
a
blend
balcony
history
or
with
patio.
creativity,
Paint them
sparking
in
stories
cheerful
of
colors for a
warriors
playful
and
touch,
exploration.
or
For
leave them bare
communities,
to embrace
rows
their
of shield
rustic
bottles
charm.
can become cultural
Either way,
displays,
they bring
reminding
structure
people
and
resilience
life
while
where once
promoting
there was only
eco-friendly
empty
living.
space.
And when
These
sunlight
crate
gleams
gardens
across the
remind
painted
us of
surfaces,
resourcefulness,
the shields
how
shine with
everyday
strength.
objects can hold
Their herbs
unexpected
rising
beauty
above like
when
plumes
given
of
a new
victory.
purpose.
It feels as though the
Each
spirit of
leaf
the
that
North has
grows
taken
in them
root in
is
the garden.
proof that simplicity
Proof
can be
that even
powerful,
discarded
and that
plastic
nourishment
can
for
fight
both
for
body
renewal,
and spirit
reborn as shields
can
of courage,
bloom
growth,
from the
and
humblest
life.
of boxes.
Candy brings
There's
joy
a certain
with its color,
delight in
sweetness,
surprising
and
the
playful
eye,
spirit.
in
The
turning
bottle jelly
something
candy herb
ordinary
wall
into
captures
something
that delight.
extraordinary. A
Turning
bathtub
recycled
once
bottles into
filled with
glossy
water,
treats that
a
bloom with
sink
greenery.
once washed with
Imagine
soap.
bottles
They can
painted
be
in bright
reborn in the
jelly-like
garden
colors,
as vessels
ruby
of
reds,
life,
gummy oranges,
overflowing
bubblegum
not
pinks,
with
and
water,
emerald greens,
but with flowers.
lined up vertically
What was
to form
once
a
a
cheerful
utility
wall.
becomes a
From
centerpiece.
their top sprout herbs
Bold
like
and
basil,
whimsical,
mint, or parsley,
yet deeply
resembling
rooted in
toppings on a
sustainability.
wall of sweets.
Picture an
The crafting
old clawfoot
process
tub
is
resting
colorful and
quietly
fun.
in your backyard.
Old bottles are clean,
enamel
then
worn
coated
by
with
years of
glossy,
use.
translucent paints
Now,
to mimic
instead
the
of
shine
that,
of candy.
it carries
Families can mix and
cascades of
match colors to
marigolds,
create playful
daisies,
patterns,
and lavender.
stacking the bottles
The
into
sight
rows
is both
or columns.
unexpected and
Once
joyful,
herbs are planted,
like stumbling
the
upon a
bottles become
secret
like
garden
candy
tucked
jars
inside
alive
a
with
memory.
green.
Nearby,
Children especially
a
love
porcelain
choosing
sink
candy
brims with
shades,
geraniums,
turning the
its
project
glossy
into a
surface
playful
catching
rainbow
the
of
sunlight
taste and
and reflecting
imagination.
colors in
Beyond
every
their
direction.
fun design,
Together,
these bottles
they
serve
create
as
a corner
hydroponic
that
planters.
feels
Each
playful
one
and
conserves
magical.
water and
To
produces
create
herbs,
such a feature,
making
start
the
by
project
drilling
both
small
practical
drainage
and
holes
whimsical.
in the bottom of the
Perfect
tub
for patios,
or sink.
balconies, or garden
Fill with
fences.
good soil
The
and
jelly
choose
wall is as
plants that
functional as
love
it is
depth,
eye-catching.
as tubs
At
especially
night,
can hold
with
plenty
small
of roots.
lights shining behind
Herbs,
them,
flowers,
the bottles
or
glow like
even
candy
vegetables
in a
thrive
shop
in
window.
these containers.
For families,
Painting the exteriors
crafting
with
and jelly candy walls is a
weatherproof
joyful
colors
bonding
adds
activity,
another layer of personality.
combining art with
Soft
eco-friendly
pastels for
gardening.
charm,
For communities,
or bright tones
such
for a
walls
bold
can decorate
statement.
schools,
One
cafes,
helpful
or
tip:
playgrounds,
place these
spreading
planters
happiness while
strategically
promoting
where they can
recycling.
serve as focal
And when
points,
sunlight hits the
perhaps
glossy
at the end of a
surfaces,
pathway
the
or
bottles
under a
sparkle
tree.
like sweets
Their
in a jar,
size and
their herbs
character
swaying
naturally
gently
draw the
above.
eye,
It
turning
feels
them
like
into
joy
living
itself has been
sculptures.
bottled into the garden.
These upcycled
Proof
beds
that
remind
even
us that
discarded
beauty
plastic
doesn't
can
always
shine
need to be
again,
conventional.
reborn as a wall of
Sometimes
candy-colored
it's
life
the
and green
unexpected
abundance.
twist, the
Floating
tub in the garden,
islands stir the
the sink in
imagination.
the soil,
Tiny
that makes
worlds
us
adrift
pause,
on water,
smile,
carrying their own
and fall
force
in love
and
with
secrets.
the ordinary
The bottle
all over
floating
again.
island planters bring
Light
that
has a
wonder
way
into real
of
life,
transforming spaces,
transforming
of
recycled
softening
bottles
edges
into
and
miniature
weaving
islands
warmth
that
into the
bloom
night.
with greenery.
And when
Imagine
captured
bottles
inside a
painted with
simple
earthy
glass
browns
jar,
and mossy
it
greens,
becomes something
textured
magical.
with rocky details.
What once held
From
jam
their
or
top
pickles
sprout
can be
herbs like
reborn as a
basil, mint,
lantern,
or parsley,
swaying gently
rising
in
like
the
miniature
evening breeze,
forests.
guiding
When placed on a
gatherings
pond
with a
or water
glow both
feature,
humble
they
and
float
enchanting.
gently, resembling
Imagine walking
enchanted
into your
islands
garden
set
at
adrift.
twilight.
The
sky
crafting
painted
process
in
feels
hues
magical
of pink
and grounding
and
at
violet.
once.
Above
Old
you,
bottles are cut and
glass
weighted at the
jars
base for
dangle
stability,
from tree
then
branches,
decorated with
each
paint
holding a
and
small
moss-like
candle
textures.
or a string
Families
of
can
fairy
add small
lights.
details such as
Their
huts,
glow
bridges,
spills through
or
the glass,
even toy animals
scattering
to create
gentle
little
patterns
worlds
on the
on top
grass
of the
below.
bottles.
It
Once
feels like
planted,
stepping into a
the
dream,
islands feel
a
alive,
place where
carrying
everyday
their own
objects whisper
ecosystems
with
across
wonder.
the water.
Creating
Children
these
especially
lanterns
love
is
imagining
wonderfully
stories
simple.
of who might live
Wrap
on
sturdy
these floating
twine
gardens.
or wire around
Beyond
the
their
neck of each jar,
fantasy-inspired design,
making sure they hang
these
securely.
floating bottles are
Slip in a
functional
candle for a
hydroponic
warm,
planters. They
flickering
can serve
glow,
water
or
naturally
use
by resting on
battery-powered
ponds
fairy
or
lights for
basins,
safety and ease.
while sustaining herbs and
Painting
small
the jars
plants.
in translucent
Perfect for
colors
backyard
adds another
ponds,
layer
water
of
gardens,
charm.
or even
When
indoor
lit,
water features.
they cast shades
They
of
turn
blue,
still water
red,
into dynamic,
or green,
living art.
like stained
For
glass
families,
windows floating in the
crafting
air.
floating islands
One
is a
practical
chance
tip:
to blend creativity
group the
with
jars at
storytelling.
different heights
Gardening
to
with
create
play.
depth and
For
movement.
communities,
Hang them
ponds
from
decorated
trees,
with these islands can
pergolas,
become
or
magical
even along
attractions,
fences to guide
teaching about
pathways.
sustainability
For
in ways
outdoor
that
dining,
inspire curiosity.
cluster them above a
And
table
when
to set a
sunlight
mood
reflects
that is
off the
both
water,
cozy
the
and
islands
romantic.
shimmer. Their
These
herbs
lanterns
swaying
remind
gently
us
like
that
trees
beauty
in breeze.
often lies in the
It feels
simplest
as though
details.
new worlds have been born
A jar
from
that
waste.
once lived in the
Proof
kitchen
that
now
even
carries
discarded
light
plastic can
into the
carry
garden.
force.
In their glow,
Reborn as islands of
we
beauty,
see how
life, and
even the most
imagination.
ordinary
Waves
objects
carry
can brighten
rhythm and power,
not only our
endlessly
spaces,
shaping the shores.
but also our
The
moments
bottle
together.
ocean wave spiral
In the rhythm
garden
of a
captures
garden,
that energy,
sound plays its
turning
part.
recycled
Birds
bottles
sing,
into a swirling
leaves
design
rustle,
alive with greenery.
and sometimes,
Imagine
with a little
bottles painted
creativity,
in deep blues
even
and
bottle
turquoise,
caps and spoons
stacked
join
a
the
spiral
chorus.
that curls
What
upward like a
once
breaking
clinked on
wave.
tables
From
or
the top
sealed a
sprout
drink
herbs
can
like
now
basil,
dangle
mint,
in the
or
air,
parsley,
catching the
resembling
wind
sea
and
foam crowning the
transforming
crest.
it into music.
The crafting
These
process
mobiles
feels
are
both
not
creative
just
and refreshing.
decorations.
Old
They are
bottles are
instruments of
cleaned
joy,
and painted in
made
gradients
from the
of blue and
humblest
white,
of scraps.
with brushstrokes
Picture a
forming
string
curling
of
wave
colorful
patterns.
caps swaying
Families arranged them in
alongside
a
polished
spiral
spoons,
tower,
each
mimicking the
piece
motion
moving
of waves
freely as
frozen
the
in time.
breeze drifts through.
Once herbs are
When
planted,
the metal touches,
the garden becomes
it
a
creates
living
a
wave
light,
of green.
playful jingle,
Children especially love
cheerful,
painting little fish or shells on the
imperfect,
sides,
and deeply
making
human.
the spiral feel like
It's
an
a
ocean
sound that
brought
feels
into the backyard.
handmade, a
Beyond
melody
its
born not
striking
from
look,
precision
the
but from
spiral is a
imagination.
functional hydroponic
Making these
system.
mobiles is
Each bottle
simple yet
conserves water while
satisfying.
sustaining herbs,
Collect caps
making
in
it
different
ideal for
colors,
patios,
drill
balconies,
tiny
or coastal
holes,
themed gardens.
and thread them onto
Its vertical
strings.
design saves
Add
space while
spoons
adding
or
motion
forks
to the
for
garden
depth of
landscape.
tone. Then
With
tie
string lights
everything
or
to a
underwater
branch or a
LEDs
sturdy
nearby.
ring.
The
Hang in
spiral
the
can
garden
glow
on
at
the
night
porch
like a wave
or
lit
by a
by
window
moonlight.
where the wind
For
is
families,
most alive.
crafting an
helpful
ocean
tip:
wave spiral
vary
is
the
a
lengths
chance
of
to combine
strings so that the
artistry
pieces
with
strike each other
eco-conscious
differently,
gardening. For
creating a
communities,
layered harmony
such
rather than a
designs can
single
serve as
note.
festival installations,
Over time,
school projects,
the
or
metals
park
may tarnish,
decorations,
the caps may
teaching
fade,
creativity and sustainability
but that is part of their
in a
charm.
way that feels
Their
magical.
voices grow softer,
And when sunlight
warmer,
strikes the glossy
like a
blue
story
surfaces,
told again
the bottles
and again.
shimmer like water in
These
motion.
mobiles remind
Their
us
herbs
that
sway like
music
foam
doesn't
caught in the
always
wind.
need instruments.
It feels as though the sea
Sometimes
itself has taken
it's
root in the
enough to
garden.
let the wind play
Proof
with what
that
we
even
already
discarded
have.
plastic
And
can
so,
rise again,
what once cluttered
reborn as
drawers
waves
or
of beauty,
filled
rhythm,
recycling
and
bins
life.
now sings
The
above your
moonlight
garden.
has a way of softening
Proof
the
that
night,
beauty and
filling
sound can
gardens
bloom
with
from
calm
the
and
simplest
mystery.
of beginnings.
The bottle moonlight
There's a
glow
special
planters
kind
bring
of
that
wonder
beauty to
that
life,
stirs when the
turning
ordinary
recycled bottles
becomes
into
magical.
glowing moons
A
crowned with
teapot,
greenery.
once
Imagine
used to pour
bottles
warm
painted in
tea
shades
on
of
quiet
pearl white,
afternoons,
silver, and
can
pale
be
blue,
transformed into
with
a
textures
tiny
that
home
mimic
for
the craters of the
fairies,
moon.
sitting
From their
quietly
top
in your
sprout
garden
herbs like
and
basil or
inviting
mint,
imagination to
while
bloom
soft LED lights
alongside the
inside
flowers.
make them glow
Picture
like
a
lanterns in
porcelain
the dark.
teapot nestled
The
among
crafting
moss,
process feels
its spout
serene and
painted
magical.
into a little chimney,
Old bottles are
its
clean,
body adorned
painted with
tiny
critter-like
windows
textures
and
using
doors.
sponges or
Around
stippling
it,
brushes.
miniature plants and
decorated with
pebbles
small
create the
star
illusion
accents.
of a woodland
Families
village.
can insert solar or
Children
LED
gaze at
lights
it
in
with
inside,
wide eyes,
charging
as if
during the day
expecting
to
a
glow
fairy
at
to
night.
peek out
Once
and
herbs
wave.
are planted,
Adults
the
smiled
bottles
too,
resemble tiny
reminded
moons
that
that bloom with
playfulness
life,
never truly
turning the garden
leaves
into a
you us.
celestial landscape.
Creating a fairy
Children
teapot
especially
house
love
is both
watching the bottles
simple
light up
and
as
delightful.
those stars are falling
Start
into
with
their
an
yard,
old or chipped
beyond
teapot.
their enchanting
Then
glow.
decorate it using
These
outdoor
planters
paint
are
or
functional
glue on
hydroponic
tiny
systems.
craft pieces
Each
like
bottle
beads,
supports herbs while
buttons,
conserving
or wooden
water,
cutouts.
making them both
Drill a small
sustainable
hole
and
at the bottom for
decorative,
drainage if you
perfect for
plan to
patios,
plant
balconies, or
succulents or
meditation
moss
spaces.
inside.
They provide a
useful
soothing
tip is
presence
to
by
place
day
these
and
teapot
a glowing
houses in
charm by
shaded
night,
corners or
with
near
fairy
pathways,
lights or lanterns
where they
nearby.
surprise visitors
The garden
like hidden
becomes a
treasures
moonlit
waiting to be
sanctuary,
found.
For
What
families,
makes these projects
crafting
enchanting
moonlight
is
glow
not just their
planners is an
appearance,
activity that
but the
blends
stories
creativity,
they suggest.
gardening, and wonder.
Each teapot
For
can become
communities,
a different
glowing
home.
moon gardens
One
can
for
serve as
forest
installations
fairies,
for festivals
another
or
for
school
garden
projects,
sprites,
inspiring
another perhaps for a
eco-friendly
wandering
living through
gnome.
art.
No
And when
two
night
designs
falls,
are ever alike,
the bottles shine
because
softly.
each one carries
Their
your
herbs
own
silhouetted
imagination.
above like crowns of
These
starlight.
fairy houses
It
remind
feels
us
as though the
that the
moon has taken
garden
root
is
in the
not
garden.
only a place of growth,
Proof that even
but
discarded
also of
plastic can
dreams.
glow again.
In every
Reborn
flower
as
bed
symbols of peace,
and under
beauty,
every
and
leaf
renewal.
lies a
The
chance
phoenix is a
to
symbol of
rediscover
rebirth,
wonder.
rising
And
from the
sometimes,
ashes in a
all
blaze
it
of
takes
glory.
is an old
The bottle
teapot
phoenix
and a
flame
little
hydroponics
creativity to
capture
open that
fiery
door to
spirit.
magic.
Transforming
Sometimes the most
recycled
vibrant
bottles into
gardens
glowing
grow not
vessels of
from
life.
expensive planters,
Imagine bottles
but from the
painted in
simplest
vibrant
scraps.
reds, oranges,
A
and
tin
shimmering
can,
golds,
once tossed
texture like
aside
feathers of
after
flame.
holding beans
From their
or
top
soup,
sprout herbs
can
like
rise
basil
again
or
as
mint,
a vessel of beauty.
appearing as though
And
fire
when
itself has
painted in
grown
bold
into green
colors
life.
and stacked
The
into
crafting
towers,
process is both
these can
dramatic and
transform
inspiring.
into joyful
Old
sculptures that
bottles are
breathe
cut and painted
energy
in
into
fiery
every
gradients,
corner of the
with
garden.
feather-like strokes
Picture
that
a
mimic
column
wings
of
in
cans
flight.
painted
Families
in
can use
sunshine
metallic
yellow,
paints to create
ocean
glowing
blue,
highlights.
and fiery
Then the
red,
bottles are radiant,
each one
reborn
bursting
look.
with blossoms.
Once herbs are
From
planted,
above,
the bottles come
cascading
alive,
vines trail
embodying
downward,
the cycle of
softening
destruction
the metal
and
edges
renewal.
with life.
Children
The
especially
tower
love
becomes
painting the
more than a
flames,
planter.
imagining
It
each
becomes a
bottle
statement,
as a bird
a
ready to
celebration
rise
of
into the
color
sky.
and resilience.
Beyond their fiery
Creating
charm,
one is easy.
these bottles
Clean
are practical
and dry your
hydroponic
cans,
planters.
then paint
Each
them with
one
waterproof
conserves
acrylics
water while
or
producing
spray
herbs,
paints in
making them
hues that make you
sustainable
smile.
and meaningful.
Drill small
Perfect for
holes at the
patios,
bottom for
balconies, or
drainage,
themed gardens.
fill with soil,
They become
and
symbols
stack
of
them
strength
using a
and
wooden
renewal
rod or
while
sturdy
staying
pole through the
eco-friendly,
center to keep
with
them
lanterns
stable.
or LED
A
lights
useful
at
tip:
night. They glow
plant
like
cascading
embers still
flowers
burning,
like petunias
adding to
or
their
trailing
mythical
herbs in the
presence.
upper cans,
For families,
and sturdier blooms
crafting
in the
Phoenix
lower ones for
hydroponics is an
balance
activity
and
filled with
variety.
symbolism,
These towers
teaching
are
about
perfect for
resilience
small
and new
spaces.
beginnings.
Even
For
in a modest
communities,
balcony,
displays
a
of
single
Phoenix-inspired
stack of cans
bottles
can
can
hold
decorate
a mini
festivals,
vertical
schools,
garden
or
that
parks,
delights the eye
reminding
and
everyone that
lifts the
transformation
spirit.
is always
And
possible,
if you want to involve children,
even for waste.
let them paint the
And when
cans.
sunlight reflects
Their
off the fiery
imagination will
colors,
turn the
the
towers
bottles
into works
gleam
of
like
art.
flames reborn,
Each tin
their
can
herbs
flower
rising
tower carries a
proudly
lesson.
above. It
Beauty
feels as though
doesn't need
life
to be
itself has taken
grand to
flight
be
in the
meaningful.
garden.
With a
Proof
splash
that
of
even
paint and
discarded
a
plastic
seed of
can rise
creativity,
from ashes,
even the humblest of
reborn as phoenixes
containers
of
can
beauty,
rise tall,
resilience, and growth.
bright, and
In
alive,
many cultures, forests are
becoming
said
a
to be
joyful
alive with
tower of
unseen
life.
spirits.
Not
Gentle
all
guardians
beauty
who protect
comes from
nature and
softness.
keep balance.
Sometimes
The
it
bottle
rises
forest
from
spirit
rust,
planters bring
weight,
that myth to life,
and steel.
transforming
In the garden,
recycled bottles
even
in
the
the faces
hardest
of
materials,
woodland protectors
spears,
crowned with
pipes,
herbs.
bolts, and
Imagine
chains
bottles
can
painted
take
in
on
earthy
new
browns
life
and
as
mossy
sculptures
greens,
that bridge
with
the
glowing
rawness
eyes
of
and
industry
bark-like
with the
textures.
grace of nature.
From their top sprout
These metal
herbs like
scrap
basil,
creations
mint, or
stand
parsley,
tall, proud,
forming leafy crowns
and
that sway
unexpected,
like hair in the
bringing
breeze.
character
The
to every
crafting
corner they
process feels
inhabit.
like inviting
Picture
magic
a
into the
flower
garden.
taller than yourself,
Old bottles are cut
crafted
and textured with
entirely
sponges
from
to
welded
create bark-like
spoons and
patterns,
iron rods.
then painted in natural
Its
tones.
petals gleam in the
Families can
afternoon
add
sun,
moss, vines,
and
or
though it will
glowing paint
never
to create
wilt,
eyes that
it
shine in the
feels
sunlight.
alive beside
Once
the blooms
herbs are
around
planted,
it. Or
the
imagine a
bottles resemble
dragonfly made
forest
from
spirits
bicycle
watching over
gears
greenery.
and bolts,
Children
perched
especially
among
love
daisies,
painting faces,
its mechanical
some
wings
kind and
catching the
whimsical,
light.
others
Each
mysterious
sculpture
and
is a
wise,
paradox,
giving
heavy
each
yet
planter its
delicate,
own personality.
old yet
Beyond their
reborn.
enchanted look,
Making these pieces
these
requires
bottles
more
are
effort,
functional
but not
hydroponic
perfection.
planters. Each
Collect
one
discarded
conserves
metal
water while
parts,
producing
wheels,
herbs,
pipes,
making them
tools
sustainable
no
as well
longer
as
in use.
mystical.
Clean
Arranged
them,
beneath
arrange
trees on
them,
garden walls
and if you have
or in
access to
shaded
welding
corners,
or strong
they turn
adhesives,
simple spaces
bind them
into
into
magical
forms that
groves.
echo the
At
natural
night,
world.
with fairy lights or
Flowers,
lanterns,
birds,
the spirits
or
glow like
abstract
guardians
shapes.
keeping watch.
A helpful
For
tip is to
families,
coat the finished
crafting
piece with
forest
clear
spirit
sealant
planters
to
is a
slow
joyful
rusting,
activity
allowing
that
it to
sparks
weather
storytelling
gracefully
and
while
imagination.
standing firm
For
through the
communities,
seasons.
a display of these
strategically,
bottles can become a
these
unique
sculptures
installation
become
in
focal
parks
points.
or schools,
A rusty will turn
teaching
into a sunburst
eco-consciousness
can
while
command
celebrating
attention at
folklore
the
and
end of a
nature.
pathway.
And when
A
sunlight
cluster of
filters through the
scrap
leaves
metal
above,
blooms can bring
catching on the
strength
painted
to a
faces,
delicate flower bed.
the bottles seem
They don't
alive,
hide their industrial
roots.
roots.
Rising like crowns of green wisdom.
They celebrate them,
It feels as though the
proving that
forest
beauty
itself is
can
spoken.
be forged as well
Proof
as
that
grown.
even discarded
In the
plastic
end,
can become guardians
these
of life.
sculptures are
Reborn
storytellers.
as spirits of growth,
They speak
wonder,
of resilience,
and renewal.
of finding
Bees are
elegance
nature's
and
tireless
strength,
workers,
and of giving a
building
second
honeycombs
chance
where
to what
life's
once
sweetness
seemed
and structure
discarded.
come together.
In their
The
metallic
bottle
green,
honeycomb
the
vertical
garden
garden
gains
draws
a voice
inspiration
both
from their
bold
world.
and timeless.
Transforming recycled
Sometimes,
bottles
the
into
most
a beehive
enchanting
of
garden
greenery.
structures are
Imagine
built not
bottles
from
cut
new
into
materials,
hexagonal units,
but from pieces
painted
that
in
once
golden yellows and
framed other
browns,
lives.
stacked
An
into a
old
vertical
door
wall.
that once opened
From
into
each
a home,
pocket sprout herbs
a window
like
that
basil,
once
mint,
looked out
or
onto a
parsley,
street,
resembling
when
nectar-rich
salvaged and
gardens for
reimagined.
bees.
They can become walls
process
and
is
roofs of a
meticulous yet
greenhouse,
playful.
sheltering
Old
tender
bottles are cut into
seedlings with
segments,
both light
reshaped
and
into
history.
hexagons,
Picture a
and
small
painted with
structure
glossy
tucked into a
golden
backyard
tones.
corner.
Families
Its sides
arrange
built
them into
from
honeycomb
mismatched
patterns,
window frames,
stacking
their
rows
panes
upon
catching
rows to create
sunlight
the
from
look of a
different
living
angles.
hive.
Inside,
Once herbs are planted,
rows of
the
seedlings
wall comes
stretch
alive
upward,
with color
basking
and life.
in warmth.
Children
From the
especially
outside,
enjoy adding bee stickers
it feels like
or
a
painting
patchwork
tiny
house
buzzing
of glass,
insects,
imperfect,
turning the structure into a
yet full
cheerful,
of character,
nature-inspired
like
mural.
a quilt stitched
Beyond
from
its
memories.
stunning design,
Building a
this
mini
honeycomb
greenhouse
garden
like this is
a
both
functional
practical
hydroponic
and poetic.
system. Each unit
Salvaged
conserves
windows and
water
doors
and
already
supports
carry
herbs,
the perfect
making
design.
it both sustainable and
Frames for
space-saving.
holding light,
Perfect for
with
balconies,
some nails,
patios, or
hinges,
school walls.
and creativity.
The honeycomb
They
vertical
can be
garden
joined into a
maximizes
compact
vertical
space
surfaces
that protects
while
young
offering a
plants
strong
from wind,
visual theme
frost, and
with
pests.
soft lights at night.
A practical
The
tip
golden
is to
wall
use
glows
silicone
like a hive
sealant
alive
between
with
panes
energy.
to prevent drafts,
For families,
and to paint the wooden
crafting
frames
honeycomb
with
planners
weatherproof
is an
coating for
opportunity
longevity.
to teach about the
These
role of bees
structures are
in our
especially
ecosystem,
useful for gardeners
blending
in cooler
creativity with
climates,
ecology.
where tender
For
herbs and
communities,
vegetables
these
need
gardens can
extra
serve
care.
as beautiful
And
installations
beyond
in
their
schools,
function,
parks,
they
or
stand
eco
as
centers,
works of art,
raising awareness
each
about
unique,
pollinators and
each
sustainable
reflecting
living.
the life
And
of
when
the
sunlight
materials
strikes the
it's built
golden
from.
hexagons,
More than
the
shelter,
bottles shine like
these
honey
mini
dripping from comb,
greenhouses
their
are
herbs
metaphors.
swaying gently
They
like gifts of
remind us
nectar.
that growth
It
often
feels
comes
as though a
from
beehive has
protection,
blossomed into
and
the
that
garden.
what once seemed
Proof
outdated
that even
can still
discarded
cradle
plastic
new beginnings.
can buzz with life.
Through the glass of an
Reborn
old
as
window,
honeycombs of beauty,
you don't just see
structure, and
plants.
sustainability.
You see resilience,
Stars have always
renewal,
guided us,
and the quiet
symbols of
promise
hope
of
and
life
light in the night
continuing
sky.
on.
The bottle
Words have the
origami
power
star
to
planters
guide,
capture that celestial
comfort,
beauty,
and inspire,
turning recycled
even
bottles
in a
into
garden.
glowing shapes
When
that bloom
painted
with
on
herbs.
recycled wood,
Imagine
simple
bottles cut and
phrases
folded
become
into
companions
five-pointed
for your walks
stars,
among
painted
flowers
in metallic
and trees.
gold,
A
shimmering
signpost
silver
made from
and playful
old planks
pastel
doesn't
colors.
just point the way.
From their center sprout
It speaks
herbs
to
like
the heart,
basil, parsley,
reminding
or
us
mint,
to slow down,
resembling radiant
breathe,
star cores
and
glowing
notice
with
beauty.
life.
Picture
the
a
crafting
path
process
winding
feels like
through your
folding the night
backyard,
sky into your
where
hands.
colorful wooden
Old
signs
bottles are
rise
cut
from the
and
soil.
shaped with pointed edges
One
to
says,
mimic
"Grow
origami
with grace."
folds.
Another
Families paint them
whispers,
with
"Take it
shimmering
slow."
gradients.
Their
Some
paint
resembling
is slightly
golden
weathered.
stars,
The wood
others
grain
pastel
still
like
visible.
shooting stars at
Proof
dawn.
that each
Once
plank
planted,
once had another life.
the bottles
Perhaps
transform
part
into
of a
living
fence,
constellations
perhaps
that
a
bring the
crate.
heavens down
Now,
to earth.
those pieces
Children
of wood
especially
carry
enjoy
not only
arranging them into
plants,
patterns,
but wisdom.
forming their own
Making
star
these
maps on
signposts
tables
is
or
wonderfully
walls.
simple.
Beyond their
Cut old
celestial
boards
charm,
into arrow
these
shapes
star
or
planners
rectangles.
are functional
Sand the
hydroponic
surface,
systems.
and paint
Each
them in
one
cheerful
conserves
colors,
water while
or
supporting
leave them
herbs,
rustic
making them
for a
practical
natural
and
charm.
inspiring.
Use
Perfect for
stencils
patios,
or
balconies,
freehand
or
lettering to
indoor
add your
displays.
favorite garden
They shine
quotes.
both day
A
and
helpful
night.
tip:
With fairy
seal the
lights strung
signs with
nearby,
an outdoor varnish
the
so that
stars
rain
glow
and
as if floating
sunlight
among
don't fade the
constellations.
words too quickly.
For families,
Placed along
crafting
pathways,
origami
in
star
our
planners
beds,
is an
or
artistic
beside
and joyful
benches,
activity,
these signs
mixing
transform
imagination
the
with
garden into
sustainability.
more than just
For
a place of
communities,
growth. They
star-shaped
make it a
gardens can
place of
decorate
reflection.
schools, parks, or
Each
events,
time you read the words,
symbolizing light,
they echo
hope,
gently,
and eco-friendly
like
living.
small seeds
And when
planted
sunlight
in
or
the
lamplight
heart.
shines on
In
their painted
truth,
surfaces,
these
the
recycled
bottles gleam like
signposts remind
stars
us that
pulled from the sky,
inspiration doesn't have
their
to come
herbs
from
swaying
books
like
or
radiant
screens.
flares.
Sometimes
it feels as though the universe
it
itself
waits
is
in the
rooted in the
garden,
garden.
written on a piece
Proof
of old
that
wood,
even discarded
telling us to
plastic
keep growing,
can shine
to
again,
keep blooming,
reborn as
and to keep
constellations of
finding
life,
joy
beauty,
in a
and
simple
renewal.
act of being alive.
Cities of the future are
There's
imagined
a
as
quiet
tall
joy
towers
in sharing the
shimmering with
garden,
light,
not
where greenery
only with
grows in
plants,
harmony with
but with
technology.
creatures that visit
The bottle
on
futuristic
fluttering
city
wings.
towers bring that
Old
dream
bowls,
to life,
teapots,
turning
or
recycled
colanders
bottles
that
into
once belonged in the
skyscraper-like planters
kitchen can
crowned with
find
herbs.
new life outdoors.
Imagine bottles
becoming
painted in
bird
metallic
baths
silver
and
and deep
feeders
blue,
that invite song
decorated
and
with glowing
movement into
neon
your
lines.
space.
From their
Suddenly,
top sprout
the garden
herbs like
doesn't just
basil
bloom
or
with
parsley,
flowers.
forming
It sings
rooftop
with life.
gardens in miniature.
Imagine an
arranged
enamel
together.
bowl,
They look like a
weathered but
city
still
skyline
strong,
alive with nature.
perched atop a
The
wooden
crafting
stand
process
and
feels
filled
modern
with fresh water.
and exciting.
A
Old
sparrow
bottles
dips
are
its
cut into
wings,
tall vertical
a
shapes,
butterfly hovers
then
nearby,
painted with sleek
and
metallic
sunlight
finishes.
dances across
Families
the
can
ripples.
add neon accents
Not
using
far away,
glow-in-the-dark
an
paints or
old
small
colander
LED
hangs from a
strips,
tree. Its
giving each bottle
perforations
the look
perfect
of a
for
futuristic futuristic tower.
Filled with seeds that attract finches
the
and
bottles
ducks.
resemble buildings
What was
topped
once
with green
forgotten
oases,
in the back of a cupboard
blending
now becomes
architecture
the
and
center of
sustainability.
lively gatherings.
Children especially love
Creating
designing
these
their own
features is
tower
simple.
with lights and colors.
Any sturdy
Turning
kitchenware
the
can be
project
adapted.
into a mini city
Bowls
building
become
game.
baths.
Beyond their
Teapots make
striking
whimsical
aesthetic,
feeders.
these bottle
Pans
towers
serve
are
as
functional
shallow water
hydroponic
dishes.
planters.
Drill
They can
holes
serve
or
water while
attach
producing
chains for
herbs,
hanging, and
making them
always
both
ensure
practical
stability
and
so that birds
visionary.
feel safe when
Perfect
they
for
land.
patios,
A
balconies,
helpful
or
tip
urban
is
apartments.
to place baths
They bring
in
the feel
shaded
of
areas to
futuristic
keep water
eco-city
cool and
into
fresh,
everyday
and
spaces,
refill them often to
with lights
maintain a
glowing at
healthy
night.
haven for your
They
feathered
transform
visitors.
into a miniature
The
skyline
beauty of these
that feels
upcycled
alive.
pieces
For
lies in their
families,
charm.
Crafting
Each
City Tower
item
Planners
carries
is an
history.
imaginative
A
project
pot
that
that
blends
once
art,
cooked meals,
play, and
a bowl that
eco-conscious
once
living
served a family.
for communities.
Now they offer
Displays of
nourishment again,
futuristic
but in a
towers
different
can inspire
way,
visions of greener
sustaining the
cities,
wildlife
where
around us.
recycling and
These
innovation
bird
walk
baths
hand in
and
hand.
feeders remind
And
us
when
of
twilight
connection.
falls,
They show
the
that our
bottles
gardens
glow
aren't
like
just
skyscrapers
ours.
of tomorrow.
They belong to the
Their herbs
creatures who
rising
pass
like
through,
rooftop gardens against
too.
the sky.
And in offering
it
them
feels
a
as though the
gift,
future has
we
already
gain more
taken
than
root in the
song.
garden.
We gain the
Proof that
harmony
even
of sharing
discarded
space
plastic
with
can
nature.
rise again, reborn as cities of light, greenery, and hope.